got a lot of,
exactly.
a lot of eyeballs on it.
People think that's a lock. I'm like, it's not a lock. It definitely is not a lock. First of all, what engine is he using?
It's Creation 2.0.
Oh, fuck.
I think.
Oh, you're losing this off of technical support alone. Over technical performance alone.
I think when it comes down to it, Bethesda, even though that they missed Fallout 4 to a lot of people, they have enough of that studio clout that they can get one more game. Like, sure, Fallout 4, and a lot of people like Fallout 4. I wasn't one of those. I kind of felt like they went away from a lot of what makes it an RPG. But I do feel like it wasn't a bad game. It just was. I felt like it was a good shooter game or a good adventure game, just not a good Fallout game. Kind of what I feel the same way Breath of the Wild. I felt like Breath of the Wild is a good adventure game, but it's not a good Zelda game.
I can hear that.
What?
All I'm saying is this game's not a lock by any means. Let's see, Jack, how the lights get blood streaming you over there?
Are you okay, Jack?
1 point loss, man. It's just crazy, bro. 1 point loss, man. We gonna get them next game. I ain't even worried, man. We lost a game last year by 1 point, right? Maybe it's just meant to be, but we got to see them boys again on Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? I ain't concerned, man.
Hey, man, Golden State single-handedly with that team. Like, what other W's do light-skinned dudes get? Like in the world?
Well, we get not a lot, but we always hear about colorism towards the other shade of people. But
should never brought it up.
Exactly. But they gonna bring us this W because Will Smith brought us an eternal hell. Will Smith sent us back to the fucking shadow realm.
You consider yourself light-skinned, Bob?
Yes.
Mine is definitely light-skinned.
And in fact, it's not even that I consider myself light-skinned. Other black people made that distinction for me, so by default, that's what I am.
Y'all got that one dude that played on Barbershop. You know what I'm talking about? That light-skinned dude?
That be in all the other Tyler Perry movies?
Y'all got him. So, just be happy, man. Just be happy.
All right, let me give you a perfect example, BG. You ever watch the Jamie Foxx show?
Yep.
Niggas in middle school used to call me Braxton. That nigga light-skinned.
He is. Indeed. Well.
I'm saying, man, like, Idris is out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We got 2 Idrises now. We got the Idris off of Snowfall, too. His name is Idris. You know, I was watching that shit. Yeah.
I guess Knuckles is black now, too.
Another Idris, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, we're in right now, dog. Just let us ride this shit out, you know? It's gonna be your turn to get short, you know?
Golden State taking it.
Shout out to Xbox and their show later, in June. We'll see how they do. Alright. What else we got? WB Games are trying to sell off their studios still and license out their IPs. So,
hold on, real quick, BG. Somebody said Stalker 2's delayed indefinitely against studios in Ukraine.
This is true. Whatever the fuck you just said.
Damn.
They got moved. They moved them out of there. But that still could delay the game. They moved them out of there.
Okay.
How were they able to move them? Niggas supposed to be fighting.
What?
They passed a law like 18 to 60. You gotta go to war.
Yeah. Well, I guess they was already out.
AK, like, dog, you gotta stay.
Yeah, they passed the law. So how the hell did they get them out?
I guess they was already gone by the time that law was passed.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but WB Games are trying to sell off their studios, and license out their IPs. They don't want to let go of them IPs, completely. They don't want to sell those things, so they're just going to sell the studios.
Yeah, so Spider-Man, Marvel.
Exactly. So some of the WB studios, we got Avalanche Software, Monolith, NetherRealm, Rocksteady, WB Montreal, WB New York, and Boston. But I think those are like support studios. So yeah, it's mainly Montreal, Rocksteady, NetherRealm, Monolith, Avalanche Software. And interested parties, they said there's a bunch of interested parties. Tencent, Sony, Microsoft, and I think it might have been Embracer Group, a bunch of them. Like a bunch of people are interested. I was thinking if
Xbox has to get Rocksteady. If Sony gets Rocksteady, that's going to be a fucking smack in the dick.
I think, okay, yeah, I was thinking the same thing that Xbox would want. What would they want? I think they would want Monolith or Rocksteady because, you know, people always screaming about them having a superhero game. Monolith is working on Wonder Woman, I think. You know, Rocksteady makes all these, you know, Batman games, or whatever. But then they would need to, like, get the license, you know, obviously, with those for, like, future games or whatever. And I would think, like, off the top of my head, if PlayStation or Microsoft got one of these, I would think PlayStation would want. Honestly, I would think they would want NetherRealm.
Actually, I think Microsoft needs to get NetherRealm.
I would think that too. Because PlayStation already has all the Japanese fighters that really don't have a big presence on Xbox.
They lightweight fell.
Plus, I don't actually see like maybe NetherRealm, but they got Evo. Like I don't feel like they really need to have a head-to-head fighter represent for them. Like they got the king of the tournament, so like they don't really need that kind of marketing.
They don't, but the only reason I say that is because PlayStation owns Evo, and there's rumors of them, you know, possibly trying to get Arc systems, but they still don't own any developer that makes fighting games. You got to. It makes sense for you to, even though you own Evo, you should have at least one studio that makes fighting games. They don't only make sense. They don't have one yet.
I think all fighting games should be multiplayer. It's not a big genre. I don't think any fighting game should really be exclusive.
It doesn't have to be exclusive. That's the thing.
And it's actually better for the genre in general because it's so niche.
But it doesn't have to be. They can own it and still keep it multiplayer.
You know, I just feel like because
I can do that. Only Microsoft can do that.
I feel like because they own Evo, they don't really need like a foot in that marketplace because at the end of the day, and they wouldn't do it, but they could easily gravitate the marketing to anything they want. They could use that to leverage themselves into like exclusive deals with like Street Fighter because like it's gonna help for them when you go to Evo and Street Fighter's posted everywhere because they own the damn thing.
It's crazy how Microsoft has the most studios, but we're all saying they need more studios because they don't have any games.
I would almost bet Tencent gets, you know, at least one of these studios. I would almost bet that.
I don't think they're going to sell any of them.
So that's always going to get.
They've been trying to for a little bit, trying to do something, trying to close the deal.
I feel like a lot of things have been saying, but I don't feel like nothing's going to actually happen until if you start seeing these games come out and flop, then we can have a different conversation. But I think Discovery is intentionally, you know, not taking any of these deals because they are curious on what kind of money they can make off like this Harry Potter game. And if this Harry Potter game does well, I highly doubt they sell it.
Here's what's gonna happen. They say they're trying to sell, right? Expect in the next month or two, bad working conditions, sexual misconduct. You know what's gonna happen. You know what's gonna happen. That's what I'm going to say.
They've been trying to sell for like since like last year, and nothing's happened yet.
You got to think with WB Games and everything like that. Like if Tencent buys them, like it really doesn't affect the like in-base consumer video game market that much. You know what I'm saying? Like games are still third party. The only thing that becomes like is really going to change the scales, tip the scales a little bit, is if Microsoft or Sony buys it, or Nintendo. You know what I'm saying? Like if one of the big three buys this studio, then things are potentially first-party exclusive deals, shit like that, or even the licensing agreements. You know what I'm saying? Like they get licensing for what does WB own? Like Lord of the Rings and shit like that. Like
Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter.